Welcome back to Sarah No Support Workers. And today is a very special and exciting episode because, babe, we have made it to 100 episodes. Yes, 100 episodes. Yes, I'm still pinching myself up over this, right? Because how the hell did we get here? And honestly, this podcast did not start with some sort of like fancy master plan. There's no business structure, to be honest, about this. And I didn't sit with some sort of like whiteboard or a ring light or the 5-year strategy. I just kept turning up. And this podcast started because I genuinely enjoy talking about the sector and I enjoy talking about support workers and I enjoy hearing people's stories and I love asking questions like, how the hell did you get here? What did you learn? Where did it all go wrong? And what would you do differently? And what do you wish people understood? I think that's why we've made it to 100 episodes because it was never forced. It has purely become out of enjoyment. And I am nosy and I'm curious. Look, I'll let you pick which one, but it comes from wanting to give people the content that actually makes sense in this real world. And I'm not talking like the Polish corporate crap. I'm talking everything is fine content because let's be real here. In the NDIS and aged care space, everything is not always fine and support work can be beautiful and I've loved every moment of being a support worker. It can be meaningful. It can change somebody's day, somebody's week, and sometimes their whole entire life. And it can be confusing, exhausting, emotional, and very messy in between. And that's why this podcast exists, because podcasts like Sarah No Support Workers didn't exist for support workers. Not much did. And I would like to talk to all support workers about the real stuff. The real stuff that support workers, providers, participants, families, and people in this sector actually think about. Not just what looks good on a flyer or some, Instagram or TikTok reel. It more depth. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I did start the podcast was because we all learn differently and we communicate differently. And I think it is my inner dyslexic knowing that we need to serve all people's types of how they learn and how they communicate to our support workers, because I know that some support workers, they love to read. Some like to watch videos. Some people like to listen, like they'll listen to the podcast, whether they're cleaning, cooking, running, God, everything in between. Like you guys are doing some wild stuff while listening to this podcast and go you, boo. It's relatable. But some people need things explained slowly, like I. Some people need more examples. Some people need stories. Some people need to hear someone say, hey, you're not the only one that feels this way. And as a support worker, we should already understand that because communication has never been one size fits all. Some people communicate with words. Some people communicate with body language. Some people use visuals. Some use devices. Some people use behavior. Some are using their facial expressions and some just need the time or, some people just need to trust. Some people need someone to sit beside them and actually listen. And another way of sharing information, another way to connect with people, and another way to make this sector feel a little less lonely for our support workers. And to be honest, I don't think I realized how big 100 episodes actually was. I was downplaying it, to be honest with you, because I was just like, thank you, next. But it wasn't until I was podcasting with a fella probably 10 episodes ago, if you want to go back and have a look. But he was saying to me that most people will do 3 and quit. Some people get to 20 and get exhausted. And Sarah, you're 80 in. And I didn't I really didn't realize it. And that's when I probably actually stopped and thought about it and thought, oh, hang on, 100 episodes is actually a lot. That is a lot of conversations. It's like 100 conversations, 100 moments of learning, and 100 chances to hear from people in the sector. 100 times I have shown up, even when like my life had been chaotic and messy and loud and everything in between. And I downplayed it, to be honest with you, because the podcast has always been fun. And I generally do mean that I am enjoying it because I've had so much fun meeting new people, hearing stories, learning things that I never thought I would learn, and exploring the NDIS through so many different lenses, because that's what makes this sector so interesting, is because everyone sees the NDIS in a completely different way. Like support workers, they see it a different way. You got providers see it another. Participants see it in a completely different lens and ask for different things, and I'm okay with that. But like even business owners, they are seeing it a different lens. Families are seeing it a different way. And then the compliance people, of course, they are definitely going to see it a different way. And through this podcast, I have been able to sit in the middle of these conversations and say, okay, what can we learn here? And honestly, it has been one of the biggest gifts. The podcast has opened doors that I've never expected. And it has given me opportunities to meet with people that I never thought I would ever meet with or have conversations with. Getting invited to events that I never thought I would go to, or it has helped me build relationships in this sector. And I've been able to network. And then that's like, I think, yeah, I'm a networker by trade. Okay. I'm a matchmaking networker by trade. And I have been able to network people to other organizations and conversations in between. And I have loved it. And to be honest, it has served me well because it has also helped me grow my career. It has helped me step into rooms that I thought that I would never be seen in, or did I think that I actually belonged in? And now I'm like a bit more confident these days, of course, because now I'm like, yeah, I belong here, move over. I brought the mic. And that has been really special because my confidence has grown every episode that I have done. And the best part about all of this has always been the people, the guests, the conversations, the support messages, like the messages from support workers, providers sharing their stories, and people who said, I have listened to your podcast and it helped me understand what is going on in the NDIS, understanding job roles that different people have and the companies that they run and all the person behind the company. And that's the good stuff. That's why I kept going because the podcast has never been about me talking, even though, yes, I do love a good chit chat. And it has been a way to create a space for people in this sector to talk, learn, laugh, reflect, and say, oh, wow, I needed to hear that. But I will also want to be honest. If I'm reflecting right now, times are really hard in the NDIS. And I mean, like, they are really are. They are things are so challenging. They are so different. They are moving in ways that they never used to. The work 5 years ago may not work now. Providers used to rely on may not be getting enough anymore, and support workers understanding the system may be shifting. Participants and family are trying their very best to understand what changes mean for them. So we're all moving, we're all trying to adapt together, and we're all having to ask better questions. We've all learned, we've unlearned, and sometimes we've had to take a deep breath in and go, okay, what now? And I think that's why this podcast has been successful and it still matters because in hard times, people need real conversations, not panic, not fluff, no corporate fruit salad word crap in between. No, just real conversations. People need to talk about the challenges, what is changing. People need to talk about support workers that need to know. They need to talk about what providers are dealing with. We need to talk about how our participants are served quality supports and the choices that they got and what person-led actually looks like. We need to talk about safety, communication, quality, burnout, leadership, the human side of this sector, because behind every reform, every rule, every policy, every funding decision, every business decision, there are people. And that's why I never want us to forget that. So yes, 100 episodes is a milestone, but it's also a reminder. We have 100 chances to listen, 100 chances to learn, and 100 chances to bring people to the conversation. And now more than ever, we need to keep doing that because the sector is changing and we have to change with it. But what we can't do without losing the heart of why we're all here. And that is good support, real support, safe support, better conversations, and people that actually feel seen. And I want to thank you all. Thank you all to every person that has listened. Thank you all to every guest that has trusted me with their story. Thank you all to every support worker who shared an episode. And thank you to every person who has watched a clip, liked a post, sent me a message, or told somebody about the podcast. You are the reason why this little podcast somehow has made it to 100 episodes. And I know 100 episodes for some people might not sound like something that is massive to people, but to me, it feels big. It means that I didn't quit. It means that I kept showing up even when it was hard, even when I was tired, and even when I had no idea if people were even listening, to be honest. And my tech went multiple times. I've lost a laptop. I have lost a tablet. I have gone through multiple speakers. Yep. And at times I had been really nervous interviewing some people, and my life also at times was really busy. Even when I had a million things on and I just kept going. And sometimes that's the whole lesson. You don't need to be perfect all the time. You need to care enough to keep showing up. Apply to podcasting, apply to business, apply to support work, apply to the sector. But we all just need to keep showing up, doing better. 100 episodes might not, 100 episodes to me is not a look at me moment. It is 100 episodes of us building together something really special, because this podcast has become its own little community. It has a place of real voices, a place of real sector stories, a place where support workers, I hope you all feel seen here, a place where providers get to share what they're building, a place where we get to talk about big changes and the hard bits, the wins, the lessons, the losses, the absolute chaos that we have been working in. So today's episode is short and sweet. No big guest, no big topic, no juicy breakdowns I've got for you. Just me saying thank you. Thank you for helping Sarah No Support Workers get to 100 episodes. And honestly, I'm just getting started. There are more stories to be heard out there, more conversations to be had, and more support workers to back, more providers to learn from, more changes to unpack, and more moments that we can say, okay, that doesn't actually mean for the people on the ground. That actually isn't it. Because that's where the heart is, with the people doing the work, the people giving the support and the people receiving the support, the people trying to make this sector better, one shift, one conversation, one choice, and one connection at a time. So cheers to 100 episodes. Cheers to the awesome guests that I have. Cheers to the listeners. Cheers to the support workers. Cheers to the people who care enough to keep learning. And cheers to everybody who's been a part of this journey so far. So from me to you, thank you. And as always, keep showing up, keep asking questions, keep learning, keep bringing all the good support into this world, because support work really does matter, and so do you. I'll see you in the next episodes.